Remember that time Disney favorites went extinct?
Today, we are talking about extinct Disney attractions.
We're talking about some of the shocking attractions that are coming to Disney World.
And what had to die for them to be built.
Like, what had to die to make this hat?
So first we are going to start with Splash Mountain becoming Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And this one's a little bit controversial.
Quincy gave me this hat, okay? Don't look at me like that. This is a friendship gift, and she knew that I loved Jamiroquai.
So Splash Mountain was an attraction that told the story of Brer Rabbit and his sort of pursuit, or the pursuit of him, by Brer Fox and Brer Bear.
Characters from a very controversial Disney movie, Songs of the South.
A banned Disney film.
Not banned by Disney, but definitely locked in the Disney vault and promised to never, ever be released in the US.
Song of the South has been pretty controversial actually since it opened. There were even protests when Song of the South came out when it first debuted. There have been protests every time that it came back out in the theaters or Disney re-released it.
What's weird is I'm old enough at 41 years of age to have gone to the theater in 1986 during a re-release of Song of the South and see it in a theater with my mom's best friend, Judy Olivier. She took me. She was like, this will be a nice movie. It's a classic. And I went and I said, it was like torture. It was the most boring thing I've ever sat through.
Of course, the ride does not encompass any of the things that were considered controversial about Song of the South. So it was kind of a separation in that way, but still sort of had this like troubled history of its creation.
How do I feel that Splash Mountain is extinct? Like, it's a little sad, but not really, because the ride will still be there. The ride is not going away. If what you loved about Splash Mountain was actually going down the hill in the water ride, like, you're fine. It's staying.
I love that they're keeping what makes this ride really fun, the ride system, and getting rid of things that are culturally offensive to some people.
The two reasons that I'm not sad about Splash Mountain changing are that one, we are not losing the ride system. It will be the same ride system as Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And two, I love the music of Princess and the Frog. So I'm getting great music replacing this music that I love. So I'm okay with it. But it's definitely bittersweet.
They are re-theming the ride to Princess and the Frog. The new ride is going to be called Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and they promised that it's going to have a lot of the same characters that we remember from Princess and the Frog, and it's going to have this kind of New Orleans, South Louisiana bayou theme.
The story of Tiana's Bayou Adventure is that Tiana is taking you into the bayou to meet some of her friends, and this is all at Tiana's Foods, which is this new business she has started to both provide delicious food to the community and uplift the community and teach them how to be business people.
And I cannot wait to see it. I hope they do smells. I hope we can smell the food while we're on the attraction. I really hope we get to see Dr. Facilier and the bum 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 bum. Are you ready?
I hope they find a way to bring Dr. Facilier back, because there's got to be a villain on the attraction, right? There's got to be some sort of conflict, some sort of issue where, you know, something goes wrong.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure is set to open in 2024, and I cannot wait.
I love living virtual insanity that always seem to come up.
Danger lurks behind you.
In Epcot, they used to have a couple of different, not exactly rides or attractions, they were kind of activities that you could do.
Agent P's World Showcase Adventure / Kim Possible World Showcase Adventure / DuckTales World Showcase Adventure. We're gonna go on an adventure around the World Showcase with all these different people.
The first one that they had was the Kim Possible World Showcase Adventure.
Oh man, this was my jam. Bum 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 bum. What's the sitch?
It was one of those scavenger hunts that you could do in Epcot around the World Showcase.
Ooh yeah, yeah. I'm your basic average girl, and I'm take you around the world.
And you would go get your little communicator, and then they would take you around World Showcase, and you have to solve the clues in order to save the day, save the world, and help out your girl Kim Possible.
Because it's Epcot and watch the flip phone.
You got like a little flip cell phone, and you got to type in codes, and it would take you to different places, and it'd take you to Norway. And then you'd press a button when you got there, and something within the World Showcase would like come to life.
Agent P's World Showcase Adventure was a Phineas and Ferb, Perry the Platypus themed interactive game that you could play in Epcot, kind of like a scavenger hunt, kind of like a trivia game where you sort of explored World Showcase and helped Perry the Platypus defeat Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
I was distraught when they replaced Kim Possible's World Showcase Adventure with Agent P's, because Kim Possible was my favorite character, and I was not a Phineas and Ferb girl at the time.
I am not that bummed that these experiences are extinct because there is a replacement. I'm not a huge DuckTales fan, but it's an interactive game and I love an interactive game. I am just really bummed when these things go away with no replacement. So like Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, which went away, which was an interactive card game and you could actually collect the cards and like get different powers from them. And that got completely taken out and there's been nothing to replace it and no intention to replace it as far as I can tell, which is a really big bummer because that was a really cool, really unique thing that you could do in Magic Kingdom. But they replaced the Epcot one. You've got these World Showcase adventures and they've replaced it. So there's a new World Showcase adventure and I'm totally cool with that. I mean, I think the only reason I wouldn't be cool with that is if any of them were like my favorite IP. And I love Kim Possible and I like Perry the Platypus and I don't really care about DuckTales. Woo! But any of those can be a fun game for me.
The attraction that replaced Agent P's World Showcase Adventure is DuckTales World Showcase Adventure. Are you shocked?
Again, same idea, same thing. We're not reinventing the wheel here, but it's now rethemed to DuckTales.
Because of the pandemic, this did not open until just last year, the very end of last year. December 16th of 2022, the DuckTales World Showcase Adventure opened. And this whole storyline is based around you're helping them with an archaeological expedition.
I think DuckTales is fine and it relates to what's on TV now for Disney Channel, but I do miss the older attractions.
I need it to be good. It has to be good.
Now we are talking about some Disney history here, talking about Communicore.
Uh-oh. Communicore is getting involved. Someone call Breedlove.
Communicore was a magical place where you could see all of the computer systems in Epcot Center.
Breedlove's got a lot to say about this.
Running all the rides and all the attractions, anything that was automated, it all ran through Communicore.
Feel it in my bones. Breedlove is shaking.
And it was beautiful.
Communicore was actually one of the opening attractions at the park, and it actually only lasted until about 1994. So this is not something I got to personally experience.
Communicore was kind of a flex space in Epcot. It was like where there were different exhibits and it showcased upcoming tech or like the tech of the future in Epcot. It was a super weird space, and towards the end of like the OG Epcot days before the transformation began, it was empty a lot.
It was all of that and a bag of microchips. Microchips! Y'all better laugh.
I don't necessarily have thoughts or feelings about Communicore closing. I only have one faint memory of Interventions where you would go inside that little room with the paintbrush.
There was a storm simulator presented by a paint company. And I remember that very heavily because there was like a little house in there. And as a little kid, when you see like a small version of a house, you're like, yes. And so that was me every time I saw that house. And I was like, I want to go in there and be in a simulated storm.
I actually think it's a huge bummer that Communicore is Interventions isn't really with us anymore, because I really felt it was a way for Epcot to experiment, or just Disney to experiment with different technologies and then place them, the successful ones anyway, in different areas of Disney World.
I wish it were still like that. Teach me something. Give me some aspirational value in my day at Epcot, because that's what was so amazing about attending Epcot for the day, was you left feeling excited and inspired about the future. And that doesn't happen anymore. Like, literally name one thing that inspires you about the future in a day at Epcot.
Part of the massive transformation that Epcot is undergoing is kind of reviving Communicore. They have something called Communicore Hall that is going to be premiering when they're finished.
And that is going to be kind of like a multi-use space. Disney hasn't really said for sure what's going to be there because they're going to use it as lots of different things. It is their first building that was really built with intention to rotate and grow and become different things.
Basically, what this is going to do is bring all the Epcot festivals more towards the heart of Epcot and towards the front half of the park instead of keeping it all back in World Showcase.
Where they'll hold like seminars and festival presentations and entertainment can be held in Communicore Hall, which I think is really cool that they're bringing in a dedicated indoor festival space.
I really hope that inside the hall they'll have space for performances and other additions for future festivals.
Personally, I think the thing I'm most excited about and something I really hope is included there is lots of different classes on cooking or just the food at Disney World, or education on how Disney goes about designing their foods for festivals, or how they choose things, or where they get their ingredients and their products. That's what really interests me, is all of the culinary aspects of Disney. So I really hope they do a lot of classes in that regard.
You know, I'm excited to see what they do. I believe after Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind that they have a vision for Epcot and that it's going to be really good.
Change is hard, right? That was so aggressive.
Oh man, this one hurts my heart.
This part is hard for me to talk about because I am very sad that it's gone.
Mickey's Toontown Fair was a spot in Magic Kingdom where Storybook Circus is now.
And it was a Toontown.
And it was Mickey and Friends vacation homes.
It was a little village of different houses and buildings that were done up in full-on cartoon style. It felt like in real life you were in a cartoon with the way that they designed all of the buildings.
And it was originally introduced to be a temporary land, but people liked it so much that it stuck around as Mickey's Toontown Fair. So it was supposed to be Mickey and Friends sort of other homes away from their East Coast homes, away from their real homes in Disneyland.
Like, whoa, haha, this is where you live? Nice.
Basically, it was just a big area for a bunch of meet and greets, but it was super fun, and I have like strange, vivid memories of Minnie's house.
In Minnie's house, there was this plate that had these holographic cookies on it, and I have vivid memories of my tiny child hand trying to pick up those holographic cookies.
Like, I remember opening the fridge and being like, oh, there's cheese in there. Like, why did I think that was a wild concept? I don't know. But I do remember Minnie's house. I remembered that I wanted to live there. I thought it was beautiful. And I think that says a lot about me.
But y'all couldn't keep it, okay? What's wrong, Mickey? Did you forget to pay a bill? I'm just saying. The circus came in town and stayed.
Mickey's Toontown Fair was replaced by Storybook Circus. This whole area is inspired by Dumbo and the circus, and it has some of the same rides as Toontown. They just kind of like switched them up a little bit.
It used to be like Goofy's Barnstormer, and they kind of just made it Grey Goofini's Barnstormer because Goofy's a magician in Storybook Circus.
Weirdly enough, I actually really like Storybook Circus. I don't spend a ton of time there, but Big Top is one of my favorite places to get a good treat. And then there's always lots of seating over to the right, right in front of Pete's Silly Sideshow and the character meet and greets back there.
I think you've got two really great rides for kids side by side.
But it's cute. Like, it's catered towards little kids, which also is what Toontown was for. So it's just a newer version of that.
But I'm actually very sad it's closed because every single time I see Disneyland's Toontown, I just itch to go.
Disneyland! Listen, over on my side of Disneyland.
Disneyland's Toontown is seeing some changes as well because they are getting Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway,
which is an appropriate place for that ride to be. no shade.
I'm excited because not only is this attraction coming to Mickey's Toontown, but they're doing a complete overhaul. There's gonna be more recreational areas. They're opening up a park.
I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to see them. I just went to Disneyland for the first time. Shameless plug, but we did all the Disneyland parks and the Disney World parks in one day. And you can see how if you go watch that video on our channel. That was my first time in Disneyland and Toontown was closed and I was gutted.
Toontown is getting a mini expansion and a glow up, and we are all here for it.
Overall, I do miss these attractions.
The one that I really miss is Toontown. I might grow to miss Splash Mountain, but I just don't think so because I'll be getting my favorite parts of the ride with Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Toontown is probably the one thing that I would want to bring back.
But they're not like the big ones that I'm absolutely like Disney needs to bring back. Like, you know, like they're more minor.
Walt Disney himself said, keep moving forward. He also said, this park is never finished. So it's important to always adjust, keep up with the times. While nostalgia is always awesome, we cry because it happened, not because it's gone, right? We cry for the memories, not because of saying bye-bye. Allergies are kicking.
I'm having the same allergy problem that Emma is, so I'm sorry. We got allergies in Orlando, and that's the haps.
So sorry.
Allergies.
Look at this. This is unrelated, but RJ got this for me. I love him. Don't worry, it's lemon. Now go watch our episode on Disney's Broken Promises. See you there.